It's not the greatest of days, but you know, when you're out in the middle of the country like this, I think it's always kind of beautiful, even if it is raining. Yeah,
I don't mind the rain that much.
Now, it's been a while since we spoke, but we have been in touch, of course, a lot over the years. I'm kind of amazed at how much of a foodie world we live in now. That not only do we, you know, obviously we enjoy food and all that, but Ireland has really come up in leaps and bounds in regard to what we eat and what we think is available to us. And
there's so much available to us now from terms of ingredients. Even when I started cooking 20 years ago professionally, there was very few ingredients around. Now you can get everything you want. And then there's all this influx of new restaurants and cultures and things that we're getting such exposure to worldwide food.
Yes.
But if you really think about it, not many people are cooking Irish food.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And it's hard to define that too, because you know there's no Irish restaurants doing well abroad. You know, it's a pub, and that's it. There isn't that sort of Irish cuisine cookbook.
I know. I'm like, I'm a Dubliner and I love cobble. I wish I could recreate cobble and things like that, but yeah, there's not the demand. But no, it is great to see. A lot of people are really interested in cooking now and really interested in cooking for themselves at home and feeding their families well. And
it seemed to be a natural progress happening already, and then COVID came along and just speeded up people's kind of want and need to look inside the house and figure out what can we do that would be you know, exciting and different.
It was the only pleasure, wasn't it, really, during COVID, everyone home cooking their meals. And yeah, I was so busy with online classes, and I still have a lot of online customers just because during that time I got really busy all around Ireland and abroad, but so I still do the online classes, which is great crack.
Yeah.
You know, and you get the same people joining in from all over Ireland, and it's nice to keep in touch with them. But people are so just looking for new ideas, and they're looking for people don't have the time to spend hours cooking anymore, so they're looking for the convenience factor, but yet trying to stay away from the ultra processed side, which is a big buzzword now. Right,
because I'm going to say the healthiness of it all is sort of part of the appeal, that people like the idea that if they prepared it, they know it's in there, they kind of can control what they're eating, and that seems to be more and more a kind of a need in people. You can have your pot noodles and your McDonald's occasionally, but the real day-to-day living, it's important when you kind of know this is all good. This is not muck that I'm putting into myself.
Yeah, I know. And then you don't mind the odd time you do put the muck in. Like I have two 13-year-olds, and like they want their noodles and their pot noodles and whatever else. And like I hate buying them for them, but like I know that most of the time they're eating a good dinner, you know. So if I treat them now and then.
Every now and again, it's good to have a beer or to have whatever gets you happy.
I'm no angel, really. I know 80-20 rule for me. I love eating everything. That's the problem. So, but you know, most of the time, obviously, I'm cooking home cooked meals, so I feel like getting in some good nutrition there.
I was thinking, and maybe it's partly the pair's fault and all that, but Greystone seems to have sort of gotten itself on the map as a particularly strong foodie town. You know, the amount of restaurants that we have and cafes. Obviously, Jeff Bezos can't really mess with restaurants and stuff. He can't give it to you on Amazon. So there's a sort of a growth in people and businesses turning to food. But it does seem to be a very, very foodie town. You know, I have
customers that come out like from, you know, Malahide, say, you know, people come from all over the greater Dublin area. And then like we talk about the foodie destination that Greystones is, and then a lot of them have come back and said to me that they'll take the dart out on a Saturday to Greystones, because I was telling them about different places to go and eat there, and different places to try. And no, it's great. It's lovely to have all the new restaurants in Greystones.
And of course, the battle that's going on so many fronts between, you know, old school notion of I just want to have it the way I used to be as a kid, and then the idea of vegan stroke woke. There's always this great battle between that's too healthy for me. So you'll see it in there's the Happy Fair guys. They live what they say. It's not like they're pretending. And yet, of course, there's that U2 thing of like some people love them, some people don't love them. That seems to be a constant shift.
We have to say we love them as locals.
But it seems to be a constant shift in people.
I just think a lot of people can go too far when it comes to, you know, trying to avoid everything that's ultra processed. Like if you look at anything, there's processing in like a tin of tomatoes and processing in a block of cheese. But like you're trying to avoid the real ingredients that have like ingredients that you wouldn't have in your home kitchen. So a lot of people have read this book by Chris Fun. Have you read that?
Mentioned, I know I haven't read it, no. Ultra processed people.
Ultra processed people, you have to read it. It's so funny. It's a bit like Alan Carr's book on how to give up smoking. So he makes you eat all the ultra processed food like for a month, and then by the end of the month you should be nearly sickened by it and avoid it. But his whole thing is that people's diets nowadays are made up of about 60% ultra processed foods. And so he's just trying to say make, you know, healthier choices and try and cut that back a bit. But no one's going to be able to avoid processed food completely.
Because a big business naturally keeps, turning towards mass produce. So you'll get entire hundreds of acres just dedicated to one vegetable or one maize or whatever it might be. And that sort of mass production naturally it has to be faster, stronger, quicker, bigger. So there is going to be chemical help along the way.
Yeah, and not all of the chemicals are really, really bad for you. Do you know, it's just, I suppose you're trying to avoid too many of one type.
Yeah.
So you can't all avoid them completely. So I just think if you're cooking at home most of the time, and if you're, if you're just conscious a bit of what you're eating, and there's a really good app called Yucca. Do you have that?
No,
it's got a carrot.
See, my beautiful wife is an amazing cook, and she tends to sort of, and I was going to actually approach the fact that it's no longer that sort of was it the role of the woman in the house. Everybody cooks now, thankfully.
I'd say there's at least a quarter. In each class I have, there's always 3 or 4 guys out of the 12, and then you get groups of all men coming, so it's definitely switched. And
I've brothers who are the main cookers in the house, they just love food, they love how to prepare food, and obviously chefs and all that. So it's not really that, but it's just the idea that what was the question again?
I can't remember what we were saying.
But
I was saying about the Yucca app.
She'd be the type of person who might. She certainly checks recipes.
Now
and all
you
that,
can get obsessed with it. You don't need to but if you are interested in the food labeling, it's quite interesting because you just scan the barcode on any product in the supermarket and it'll tell you if it's good or bad for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so I like it. Say I'm picking a few different types of sauces. I might go for the one
just a quick kind of reckoning of which one is actually going to be the best one.
Which one is going to be the best one.
But then how long has that been around?
That's been around for years. I think they have 40 million subscribers or something so it's kind of well recognized. It's a good one to use.
Have you found now over the years yourself that just generally people when you're meeting people, they're just a lot more kind of informed about what they're eating and all that? And of course, as I said, bottom line, you just want yummy food, you just want to have a nice feed, you want to have a lot of people like their traditional meals, but there does seem to be a generation now who are just sort of happily clued in to what's going on with their...
What I find when people come here is that they want just new ideas. So people who come here, most of them just enjoy cooking. The majority of them anyway, some don't.
So it's a battle.
I just think people, it was different from the food rotation or the weekly rotation that maybe back in our day would have been your mum would have 7 meals and you'd have the same on a Monday and a Tuesday, whatever. I know people now who have 28-day rotations. So, and then they might cook the same thing on each day of the month, but they switch it around 28 times, which is quite impressive. So people there's a demand there for more recipes and just new ideas and using all the new ingredients that are available to us and just having a bit of variety in their diet. Because the kids these days too are all on TikTok and they're all looking up these kind of crispy chicken air fryer recipes.
But isn't that another thing too, that the world is wide open now to us? So never before, like that, your kids and all of us can sort of just actually be aware of what other people in the world are doing, and things travel a lot faster. Ideas get passed around, and suddenly a recipe that maybe just in the middle of Hungary suddenly is shared with the whole world, which is great because it just means that people are constantly on the lookout and they're just tempted to try a new thing every now and again.
And I know people who come here to my classes, they mightn't want to order a dish that they haven't tried before in a restaurant, but here I always do at least 8 dishes. So they know they can just take a tiny taste and see if they like it. Like tofu, for example. A lot of people that come here would never have tasted tofu before. And they just have a thing against it. Whereas if they taste it and they like it here, they go, oh yeah, you see, I'd never have ordered that in a restaurant, but now that I've tasted it, or halloumi.
That's a mix of toffee and hummus, right? Sounds lovely.
Exactly, Paul. You need to come to my classes, Paul.
But that feeling too that as I said, Greystones, Delgany and all that, I don't know whether you were sort of noticing that there's others who are just as sort of passionate. I mean, we have obviously the pair guys, but there just seems to be a generation now growing up that food is a very big deal to them. It's not just what they have for dinner, but there's a kind of a... Well,
it's definitely the next generation coming along are a lot healthier, aren't they? I suppose they're not going out to the pub.
And they're annoyingly tall as well, which is we've got to stop. We've got to reintroduce majors. 10 majors a day will keep that down. Just I don't want to be walking around 12-year-olds who are taller than me. Just 10 major a day, just for a month every now and again.
No.
But they do seem to be healthier and they're smarter. They do kind of know
they are smarter and they know what they're eating and they know what they're drinking and they're more they know the impact of nutrition on their health. So they're just more clued in basically. And I suppose because there's so much food available now to them that there wasn't when I was growing up. Like, we would have eaten a healthier diet probably because we didn't have access to all the unprocessed foods as much. You know, there wasn't, you know, they weren't making ice cream out of terrible ingredients back then. It was just probably your mom, like, you know, freezing a bit of custard or something, a bit of vanilla. But you know, so I think they're just more aware now, the next generation of like.
We should ask, and we probably covered it in the last interview, but was there a turning point for you? I don't know if this is like something that was handed down to you, whether you just became fascinated by what was possible early on. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, my mum would say when I was studying, like, I would always go down to the kitchen and make some biscuits or something as a break. So I always found it naturally relaxing. But then I went down the business route for a while, and then I really wanted to do Ballymaloe. And after I did my years travelling, I went to Ballymaloe. So that was 2004. Long time ago now. So yeah, then the effort, like, I just set this up like slowly. I'm living here 20 years now.
Wow.
I'm not even, don't know, am I still a blow-in? So like,
I think 125 years is the actual, you know, you're now a local.
But I can't believe, like, it started quite, you know, when the twins were small, I'd maybe have one class or maybe 3 a month, you know, and then it just builds up to, you know.
This is like the best food. It's organic. It's all organic. So it just sort of grew of its own accord.
And I could, like, you know, I don't really advertise except, you know.
Yeah, and then of course, and you're getting picked up by like national papers because they sort of recognise the good that's going on, and they know this is what people.
Last year in the Times, and it's great.
No, we should say we'll have it linked above, but you wonderfully mix it all up because, you know, depending on the way people are living, they can, if they have time to come out and join a bunch and have an evening of food and wine and chat about what's going on. They come right here to your lovely Delgany home, but also there's the easiness of just going online if it's a case of I'm too busy, I'd like to just learn this, so I can. So what I do now is,
like, I do a new topic about every 6 weeks. I'm just finishing up with the midweek meals one now next Wednesday, but then I break that in-house class into 2 online classes.
Yes.
So, and that's the way it works now. Yeah. So I might just do 2 online a month, like, I do corporate ones too, but the in-house then, like, I switch topics. So I'm finishing midweek meals now next week, and then I have a tapas one in November, and then it's all Christmas.
Nice.
Christmas. And then we're going to go into my January topic is going to be avoiding the ultra processed foods.
Well, again, that's a perfect time for the sense of like starting a new year and starting a new. Yeah, by February we can go back to the noodles.
So I change about every 4 to 6 weeks to a new topic, like, so. But it's always good crack here. It's just a different, like, it's not like I'm not like lecturing people. It's a night out.
Well, food too is essential of many a wonderful, you know, the whole idea of a party is often you just grab some, you know, nice food and you all sit around and you have a bit of a laugh. Yeah. So the idea you're actually making the food is part of the story and part of the evening. Yeah. That's rock and roll. That kind of works.
Do you cook yourself?
Not a bit. Anything more than 2 colours is a challenge to me. I can put cheese on anything. If you just tell me what you want, I'll melt cheese on it and we're sorted. But I shall put all the links above, all the contacts, and people obviously can catch you anytime. So as I said, there's all sorts of possibilities, and for shut-ins and people like me who just want to be able to do it at home, it's there. And people who love a day out or night out.
And people can book into a private group here too, you know, it doesn't have to be into a set scheduled class. So a lot of business has gone that way since COVID, funnily enough. It was the other way around before. So people now just book in a gang of friends, or like you might get 5 couples on a Friday night or something. So just a different night out.
You have a steak ready for me now?
I do,
some wine and rock and roll, perfect.